Good morning. It's currently 9 a.m. I've been up since 7, and since it's August and I usually don't wake up before 11, it's been a bit harsh. But I am on my way to my favorite new small town where I'm gonna spend my next 3 years, and I'm going apartment hunting there today. 2 of the apartments that I was meant to see are gone, but she offered to show me some other options. So I'm kind of going in there a bit like blindsided because I'm not really sure what I'm gonna see. For now, I have one viewing at 10:15. It's this crazy apartment. And I have everything, like some that are smaller and cheap, some that are more expensive and big. Like I just kind of want to see a range and then decide what I want to do, what I can afford and everything. I'm excited, but I also kind of have a stomach ache and I'm hungry. But this is like a slow train where they don't have little cafe bistros. This is giving heavy German suburbia vibes, and I'm honestly not completely opposed, which should be a fucking shock. This is the house that I'm visiting. Not sure what it's giving, but it looks interesting. Guys, I have to say I'm completely overwhelmed. I'm gonna sit down somewhere and tell you all about the last 3 apartments that I saw, but it's gonna be such a hard decision. Like every one of them has some pros and cons. Okay, so the first one was in the city center. It's a remodeled, rather old building, but not like super old, not like interestingly old. And the first apartment was on the top floor, and it wasn't giving me so much. Like, it was cute, but compared to everything else I've seen, it was just like not interesting. And then she showed me another one, which is a maisonette apartment. So it has 2 stories and it's like below, but it's way too big because it's honestly 3 of the same apartments just layered, and one is just 1 unit and the others are 2 units. But she said you could split the double unit into 1, and you might be asking, why would you do that if they're the same? But they were not exactly the same because the lowest has a balcony, a terrace, and the ceilings are much higher because they use some kind of materials to make it not as hot, to keep the heat in and to not make it so hot in the, you know, I don't know how you say this, but that, and that's why it has like the vertical kind of roof, then also the normal roof is just lower. It was just not giving, so that was kind of a no. But when she said that you could split the double unit and I could have the one with terrace, I was like, you know what, that kind of sounds interesting. So yeah, that's still in my head, but it's not my fave. So the next one we saw was insane, like completely insane. It was also more on the outskirts, but like still very close to the city center. And it's this completely remodeled house, and it has this beautiful large kitchen / living room with like the old I'm terrible with architecture. I don't know anything about it. I just know if I think something is pretty, but it has like these old things from the roof, and like the lady was talking about the architect, so there's this like hole where you can put like a vase or something. I don't know, it's just giving classy, it's giving luxury, but wildly, it's not that expensive. But it still is. It's like, again, around the same as my apartment in Berlin. Hello and good morning. It is the next day and I'm back home, and I quickly just wanted to talk about the last viewing. By then I was so tired and exhausted, so kind of rushed through it a bit. But it was 3 apartments in one house that has been renovated. One of them only had 1 room and the other 2 apartments had 2 rooms. They were all rather small, which means they were also kind of like cheap, but for them being their size, they weren't so cheap, so it's kind of like a bit meh, because they're freshly renovated and they had kitchens and everything, and the kitchens were super nice design. I love the kitchens. They had some nice details from the old house that was remodeled, because it used to be like an old bakery, I think that's what the woman told me. And I didn't like the one on the lower floor because, I don't know, you can just walk by and see everything. But on the upper floor, I kind of like the 2-room one, but I'm not sure because the other ones are just like much bigger. And yeah, today or tomorrow, I'm not sure when, I'm gonna make decisions because I want to be quick about this. And I saw so much I liked. I could move into most of these apartments. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end this video, and the next time I will update you on what I chose. Then of course it's gonna be a moving vlog, but that's still gonna take a while because I think I'll move in October. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and let me know what you think about the apartments and everything. One final thing I did want to say is that I was extremely impressed by all of these apartments, and not just the apartments, but their availability. The fact that I got to see them in one day, that the realtor, like 2 of the realtors literally drove me around town, just me, and showed them to me. And that's because it's such a small town and the situation, like the living situation, is not as terrible as in large cities. And I mean, everybody knows this. Almost every major city is just terrible when it comes to finding apartments, when it comes to finding affordable and nice living situations. And I feel like when I could, you know, give my younger self an advice, it is consider where you want to go after high school. And, you know, I went straight to the big cities, to New York and Berlin. I was like, no, that's the only option. But now that I'm 21 and it's not like I'm, you know, 40 or something moving to the suburbs, I feel like there's so many arguments for these small towns that I never even considered at that age, because I was very delusional and naive about what it's gonna be, and like, I'm gonna have this dream apartment in a big city and gonna live a life. But I had really, really terrible arrangements and horrible experiences in Berlin. Not all of it, of course, but for a long time I was so unhappy with my living situation, and I never considered going somewhere else. And I think it was the right decision that I went there, and I know I'm gonna come back to the city. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, never live in a city again. But if I would have known those differences back then, I feel like I could have at least considered moving somewhere else. I don't know anything yet about the benefits of studying in a small city, of having a smaller university that's not so anonymous, of having a smaller city where it's easier to make friends, you know, like that's things that people tell me, but it's nothing I've experienced yet. But I'm sure we'll talk about it in the next, I don't know, half years, next year, whatever. Just that is such a privilege and such a luxury. And it's it's absurd. Like, it shouldn't be, but we all know it is. Like, it's absurd that being able to choose where you live and with who is, you know, impossible. And I have to say, like, I've been making money since I'm 16. So it's not that I have like, you know, like only my parents who can give me a very limited amount of money, or I have to, you know, keep like a minimum wage job. Like, I have a very privileged position, or I have been having this since I was 16 and doing stuff on the internet, and still, like, you know what I mean? Like, I sometimes look at other people who have it so much worse when it comes to that, and I just, you know, it's like a topic where you can ramble about it for so long, and a lot of people have had these experiences, but I just kind of, you know, want to put this thought out there, because where you live and the space where you choose to spend most of your time will influence how you are doing. And that is not like, you know, some, oh, I'm an interior designer kind of like blah wallpaper. Like, it's really true. Basically, all I want to say is, when you're moving out of your parents' house and when you're deciding on where you want to work or where you want to study for your degree, consider this. Like, just do, because I didn't, like, not for a fucking second. And now I'm so thankful and surprised by this experience yesterday. Like, I kept being so annoying to these reels, just being like, oh my god, wow, it's so amazing that you take this time and like blah blah blah. Because in Berlin, nobody replies to you. You send out like 70, 100 letters to some people. Then when you do, you get mass viewing. So there's like 100 people in one apartment. Everybody has a packet with like reasons why they're like the best. So basically they're all just like bribing them. And you know, like, being a young student, you can't compete with these people because it's like doctors and lawyers and people like that, you know? And when it comes to roommates, like, it's even hard to get like a flat with roommates. And then often it turns out to be fucking miserable, you know? Like, yeah. So I don't want to end this on a negative note, but I just want to say I'm so thankful for everything I got to see. It still boggles my mind that these are places that I can afford, that they're all but one, I think, less than what I'm paying for a shared apartment. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon, next week.